like that. Woo!
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Pull Up Show. My name is BJ Matthews, aka B. Just before we get started, follow us on the YouTube page, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Twitter, TikTok. The Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Like, share, subscribe. All of our YouTube videos. You know what to do. You know what I'm saying? Hit that notification bell by the subscribe button. Let's get it popping. All right, fellas, ladies, people in the pull up show right now, go ahead and you know what I'm saying, wipe your feet before you guys enter this house. Hit that like button, comment, talk about the game. You know what I'm saying, share it with people in the basketball community. This live is going to definitely be a good one for the ages, and you know what I'm saying, and sit back and enjoy. Eastern Conference Finals just kicked off tonight, as I should say, between the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat. The Boston Celtics are number two in the East. The Miami Heat is number one. These are two defensive teams in the NBA, and we were in for a very, very intense matchup, and we got our money's worth tonight. Shout out to my boy Plays for Keep, you know what I'm saying? Salute BJ. We got to give Jimmy his flowers. Yes, we got to talk about that. He took the challenge of guarding Tatum. Yes, sir. We got to talk about all that. We're going to get to it, you know what I'm saying? Um, but this is going to be a live where I talk about a number of things, and of course, I'm gonna let y'all come in and speak what y'all gotta speak. But y'all know how I do when it comes to these games. I'm careful to pick a winner of a series until I see the first two games because we all know the first game is a fill out game. You know, basically trying to determine how the team is going to play. Just trying to see throw something at the other team and see what sticks, see what works, see what doesn't work. And then the second game, you go in there, that's the adjustment game. After you play the first game, you go home and watch film with the team and you try to, counteract what they did right or wrong, whether which side you're on, the winning team or the losing team. You try to find ways to do better for the second game. The mistakes that you made in the first game, you clean them up for the second game. That's how the two games work. So I always wait till about the third game to make my predictions because usually that's when most of your adjustments should be, you know what I'm saying, had by the, third game. Of course, as the series goes on, you're going to, make minor adjustments. But as far as the big adjustments, they're usually done up until the third game. So that's how I usually do my predictions. With that being said, let's get into it. All right, so the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat faced off tonight, with the Miami Heat prevailing 118 to 107 at home against the Boston Celtics. And from what I was seeing, I watched the game from start to finish. Um, I had to somewhat kind of go back and watch a little bit, some more of the game. You know, certain things I missed in the first half, going to the second half, because usually that's when the momentum just changed. It just switched. So I had to see what happened and why, one of the teams seemed to, prevail and the other team seemed to deteriorate. Okay. And again, this is just one game. This is the first game of the series. So I'm not putting no judgment on either team yet. I've watched both of them throughout the entire season, but, they're facing each other as a 7-game series. Um, Best of 7. So whoever wins the series and wins the game to 4, that's who wins. So it can easily change. My boy Soccer Updates, you know what I'm saying? Salute to you, my guys. Salute, salute, salute. What'd you think of the game? So back to my major point. Like I'm not putting no emphasis on the series yet. All I'm here to do is just dissect on what happened in game one. All right. So the Miami Heat beat the Boston Celtics 118 to 107. Very high packed game. If I go through the statistics and the stats right now, um, see for the Celtics, the leader was Jayson Tatum with 29 points, followed by Jaylen Brown with 24, and then Robert Williams with 18, and then Peyton Pritchard with 18. Those are the four guys in double figures on the Boston Celtics. Now, if I go to the Miami Heat side, Jimmy Butler, it was a Jimmy Butler show with 41 points, followed by, Tyler Hero with 18, Gabe Vincent with 17, Max Strus with 11, Bam Adebayo with 10. So those are the guys in double figures. If I look at the team stats, both of the teams shot pretty even from 2, 3 free throw line. Miami got 88%, while Boston got 75. Defensive rebounding, offensive rebound, pretty similar. They both had, 38, 39 rebounds. Boston had 22 assists. Miami had 18. Miami had 12 blocks. Boston had 8. Miami had 10 steals. Boston had 8. So the statistics as far as a team wise are pretty, similar. There wasn't a huge gap into anything except the free throw percentage, which Miami shot 88% while Boston shot 75. And that's pretty much why the game was pretty much, only a 11 point win by Miami because, the team statistics weren't really lopsided. They didn't really have a huge disparity in rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, turnovers, or percentages. So there you go. But you all know that basketball is a game of runs, it's a game of, momentum. You can have a team that's doing very well at the beginning, and then at the end or towards the second half, you start seeing a different team. You hear the coach have a pep talk in the locker room at halftime, and your team can completely turn a switch, right? And it kind of seemed like one of the teams did that, that worked in their favor, and the other team didn't. So let me start with the visiting team that actually lost the game to Boston Celtics. Now, again, I'm just here to, dissect the game. I'm just a weatherman. Like Pat Bev said yesterday, I'm just a weatherman, brother. I'll just tell y'all if it's raining or not. I'm just giving y'all the news, and I'm giving y'all what I seen on why I feel both teams, one of the teams lost and one of the teams won. Because at the end of the day, it's got to be a winner and a loser. So let me start with the Boston Celtics and some of the things that I noticed throughout the game from certain players and also just the team as a whole. Now, first thing I noticed, of course, y'all understood it was announced before the game. Actually, I was like literally an hour or two before the game that Al Horford was out with the COVID protocols. Now, y'all know how I feel about this COVID protocol stuff. We lost Paul George, if y'all don't remember, when we played the Pelicans in the playing game just last month. We lost him out of nowhere where he was out with COVID protocols. We've seen other players be out of COVID protocols at the wrong time, and even coaches in general. Steve Kerr sidelined with COVID protocols in the last series against Memphis. Chris Paul last year in the conference finals missed 2 games because of COVID protocols. Because this COVID protocol pretty much sucks. Let's just be honest. It's a time where we want to see the best players out there. We want to see everybody healthy, and COVID just messed a lot of stuff up. So Al Horford has been out with the COVID protocols. We don't know when he's going to be back on the court, but he definitely is a key piece to this team. He was a key piece in the last series against Milwaukee on not just the offensive but the defensive end as well. So that was just pretty significant loss not to have him on the court. And then Marcus Smart, he's dealing with he was questionable earlier today. I think with a leg injury or a foot, something of that nature. One of y'all can correct me in the comments if y'all know. But Marcus Smart was, sideline questionable earlier today. So his wasn't as much a surprise. But here you have 2 guys who are defensive-minded people you're going to need in this series because you're facing a very defensive-minded team in Miami. So you're going to need all the defensive players that you can have with Marcus Smart and Al Horford, right? So that's what I first noticed. The absence of those 2 somewhat, help Miami to be more physical with this team. And we're going to talk about Miami, what they did on defense to kind of shell shock Boston. But that's the first thing. Number 2, I noticed with their lack of shot creators. Now, I just told you, the 4 guys in double figures were Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard, and Robert Williams. Outside of Tatum and Brown, who else does Boston really has as shot creators? You know what I'm saying? Grant Williams is not a shot creator. He can hit threes, but he had 7 points tonight after going 7 for 18 from 3 in Game 7 against Milwaukee. But he's not a guy that's going to put the ball on the floor. Derek White, he's very streaky. I don't trust him at all to be a big contributor in this series. He had 3 points. Daniel Tice, don't get me started. Peyton Pritchard can put the ball on the floor, but he's not a guy that's going to constantly give you, a consistent 10 to 15 points throughout the series. Not against this defense. He had 18 tonight. You know what I'm saying? He'll have a game or 2 where he scores around 15, 18 points. But I don't expect him to do this throughout the series just because of Miami Heat's defense being tough with all time good guard defenders. So I don't expect Pritchard to do that. Robert Williams, he's an enforcer inside. He does go out to get rebounds. He had 9 rebounds tonight, but he's not a guy that's going to create his own shot. So the fact that they don't have guys like Horford who can create a shot off the dribble, and Smart can do it as well, even though he's more of a defensive guy. They're missing out when they don't have all their horses in the den, because now you're putting more pressure on guys like Peyton Pritchard and you know Derek White and Robert Williams and Grant Williams to score the ball, and that's just not their role with this team. Y'all continue to hit that like button, y'all. Um, so that's another thing I noticed. They don't have a lot of shot creators. So all the offense falls on Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown's head. Now, speaking of Jayson Tatum, like I told y'all, and I'm just here reporting the news. You got people in the media saying, is Tatum the best player in the NBA? This is what I'm talking about. He had a good performance. He had 29 points in the first half. But like I told y'all about Tatum, he's very streaky. There'll be a time where he gets very, very hot, gets very hot in the first quarter or first half, and then in the third quarter, second half, he'll tend to go cold. I think he had like I don't know how many points. I don't want to put a number on it, but he had more than half of his points in the first half. So you start off hot, but where is that production towards the end of the game when your team needs it in a close matchup? You know what I'm saying? It's a difference between having a person who can light up at the beginning, but what are you gonna need towards the end when your team needs you? And I just don't feel like Tatum is at that point where you can like say, okay, give me the ball in crunch time situation, I'll take you home. Or I'm not the type to feel like he can do that consistently. So Tatum, yeah, he struggled in the second half by that Miami Heat defense. That's kind of the situation we're having. Again, I'm not putting no onus on, this is the end all be all, but that's what happened today. And then Jaylen Brown had, I think, what do you have, 24 tonight? So he did his thing as a second scorer, but they're going to probably need even more from him going on from here on out, because it's just, you're facing the Miami Heat team that can score and shoot, not just play defense. So those are the, four contributors, the absence of Marcus Smart and Al Horford, Boston's lack of shot creators, as well as Jayson Tatum being streaky and not being that constant scoring threat when you need him the most. Those are my 3 points as far as why Boston lost tonight. Now, let me go to the winning team, the Miami Heat. The Miami Heat. If y'all still with me, what I'm saying, continue to stick with me. And, yeah, I'll let y'all in a little bit. But Miami, if I look at them, they were very, very slow in the first half. They weren't they weren't playing physical. They weren't playing that grind grit team that, I'm saying, gets it out the mud. They weren't closing out on shooters. They weren't, using their physicality against this Boston team that is limited. Kyle Lowry is dealing with an injury with his quad or his hammy. He's supposed to be back very soon. So yeah. Players for Keith said, did you see Boston coach pull Grant Williams and he was trying to get smart with the coach? Yeah, I saw that point. He said, I'm good. I saw Grant Williams say that. He said, I'm good. I can get back in the game. Now, I forgot to mention this point. I'm glad you put that up there, players for Keith. Ime Udoka is a good up-and-coming coach. Very good up-and-coming coach as far as scheming and finding ways to play, defense on, offensive players. So I give him that credit. He was an assistant under Greg Popovich. You can't get better than that. You were with Kevin Durant in Brooklyn last year, right? So you've been in some, very elite company. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not putting Ime Udoka over no Eric Spoelstra. And that's another advantage Miami I'm going to talk about that they have, having a coach that's going to make sure they're ready for every other opportunity, every thing that Boston throws at them, that Spoelstra is going to have them ready. So again, Miami Heat, if I talk about what they did They were very slow in the first half, but then the second half they picked up the defense. They picked up that defense in the third quarter. They were down 62-54, and then in the third quarter they outscored Boston 14-39. And that pretty much won them the game. Now, how did that happen? Certain play-by-play situations. There were two instances where I saw Bam Adebayo. I'm talking about him right now, where Bam Adebayo was showing his defensive tenacity when he blocked two shots off the backboard. One with Jaylen Brown, and I forgot the other one, but he was using his length, his size. He was, being able to cover off the pick and rolls. That's how you're supposed to use a Bam Adebayo. 6'9" forward, defensive player of the year candidate, who blocks shots off the backboard, who can move his feet, who's agile, who's long, and who's athletic. So that's what he was able to do as far as lifting that Miami Heat team. Jimmy Butler said in a press conference that he's the engine of the team. His energy and what he does uplifts his team. So when you have a Bam Adebayo locked in on defense, then you have a Miami Heat team locked in on defense. So you got Bam doing what he did in the third quarter, which what uplifted him. Now here comes PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker, if y'all saw in the second quarter, at the end, towards the end of the second quarter, it sounded like he rolled his ankle. So when he rolled his ankle, y'all know PJ Tucker, he's also another energetic guy. So when he's not on the court, then you can easily kind of, go into zombie mode for a little bit where you're kind of going through the motions. Even if a team like Miami, who puts their pride on their sleeve when it comes to defense, they fall asleep sometimes too. They're not perfect. So PJ Tucker, he's the guy that can continuously tap you on the shoulder, wake you up, making sure that you're locked in. So when he got into that locker room in the second quarter and rolled his ankle, Miami kind of somewhat lost their mojo, their swag, their flavor. He comes back in the third quarter, dives on the floor for some loose balls, active with his hands, talking, moving his feet, talking to the ref, talking to himself, talking to the fans, talking to somebody to get himself going. So that's what PJ is to this team. And as a matter of fact, if Milwaukee had him this past year, then he probably have a chance they would have probably beat that Boston team, even without Chris Middleton, because he would have been a person that can, distract Jayson Tatum. I think he was guarding Jayson Tatum a little bit in the third quarter. So PJ Tucker is big for this team. So I just brought up Bam Adebayo, PJ Tucker. But also, like I say, Miami has great defense. They're very physical. They have a lot of different players on that team that be active on D. From Bam to Jimmy to Gabe Vincent, who can play defense. Kyle Lowry, Victor Oladipo, you know what I'm saying? But also they can really score the ball. The thing about Boston that they have a lack of shot creators that Miami don't have that problem. They got guys that can put that ball in that basket, who can create their own shot, starting with Tyler Hero, who had 18 points tonight. He can create off his dribble, go into the mid-range, get that three-point shot, get to the basket. He's a three-tier scorer. Sixth man of the year, Tyler Hero, right? Definitely is a big piece to this team. You got Gabe Vincent, who had two big threes, a point guard. He also had two big strips in the third quarter. That kind of changed the momentum to their side, right? So you got Gabe Vincent, you got Victor Oladipo. Even though he had 5 points tonight, we've seen Victor Oladipo go off when it goes to scoring. But also what he does with this team, and he has some good plays, he plays good defense, very good defensive player, athletic, is able to, close out on shots. So that's what Oladipo does. You got a guy like, Max Strus, who seems to be putting up 3-point after 3-point all of a sudden. So you got so many guys, and you haven't played Duncan Robinson all series. He can get high. If you choose to go and get Duncan Robinson, that's another extra 10 to 15 points, right? So if they have so many options, and to be quite honest with you, this Miami Heat team reminds me a lot of, and I'm gonna be very honest, of the Clippers. As far as how deep they can go 1-12, if Spo chooses to, they can do it. They got a full loaded roster. They got a point guard in Kyle Lowry. They got Gabe Vincent. They got Tyler Hero. They got Victor Oladipo. They got Jimmy Butler. They got Bam Adebayo. They have PJ Tucker. They have Max Strus. They have who else they got? Caleb something. I've got Caleb Martin. You know what I'm saying? They got pieces. DeAndre Dedmon on this whole Miami Heat team. They can go 1-10 or 1-12. Easy. And then you got vets on that bench from Udonis Haslam to Caron Butler to and Kyle Lowry was talking on the bench today. Like they have a full loaded team. And Spoelstra being the best coach in the league, and then Pat Riley from top to bottom. This team is just an A+ organization. Y'all feel what I'm saying? It's not just the players; they have a full village over there in Miami, man. A full culture of just excellence is just winning, of just being no nonsense, hold everybody accountable. We're a family here, and we're gonna be in this together. And that's what their makeup is. You can tell how they play. You can tell they care about winning. They care about holding people accountable, and that's just a winning environment. No wonder they're able to come out that funk when LeBron left because they're about excellence over there in Miami and South Beach, man. And you're seeing it on the court. Now let me talk about who the person um who is the main attraction. Pretty much y'all know the Jimmy Butler show, man. Now he had 41 points, 9 rebounds, and I want to say how many assists did Jimmy have tonight? Jimmy Buckets had oh wow, he had 5 assists. So he had a full game. He shot what he shoot 12 for 18 from the field, but he also went 17 for 18 from the free throw line. Now I saw in some people's comments saying that the refs used the refs were on Jimmy's side as far as having getting free throws. I went back and watched a lot of those plays where he got free throws. They were legitimate fouls. He was outsmarting the defense with pump fakes, with footwork, getting the defense in the air, getting to the basket on fast breaks, getting calls. Like those are legit fouls. That's part of the game. That's why I say Jimmy Butler doesn't make a lot of mistakes. I told y'all, Jimmy Butler. If y'all ain't seen one of my YouTube shorts I put out there about a couple weeks ago when they played the Hawks, he's the perfect basketball player, man. The dude literally he's not nobody's perfect, but as far as his size, his measurements, his game, being able to be a two-way scorer, doesn't make a lot of mistakes, can shoot the two, can shoot the three, can get to the basket, mentally strong, physically tough, unselfish, a mental toughness. He has the intangibles. Like he has everything. Like you can say, okay, yeah, he's why you want him in winning time. He elevates his game in the playoffs. Last 3 games, he's had more than 35 points. He's averaging over 30 points in the playoffs right now. And I listen to these press conferences a lot after these games as well. His responses tonight against Boston after game one were pretty much spot on. One of the reporters asked him about, the 40-point thing and what did it mean to him, and he pretty much told him like it doesn't mean nothing if we don't win. All he was saying in a pretty much a nice way is like, I do what I gotta do to make my team win. If that means scoring 40 points, we can do that. If that means scoring 5 points, I'll do that. And I've seen Jimmy do that where one night he'll have 40-some points and the other night he might have 15. But as long as they win, and everybody shares the wealth, then we're gonna be successful. So everything in Miami is they have it on point. Everything's right over there. So it makes you believe that all those times where people were getting on Jimmy for being like the bad locker room guy, he has some truth to what he was talking about. Like, look, as long as you come in, you work, and you come to play hard and play together, you ain't gonna have no problems for me. And he's found a home in Miami where everybody holds everyone accountable. But those teams like in Minnesota with Cat and Andrew Wiggins, and in Philadelphia with that organization, like they had problems with Jimmy because Jimmy was a guy who expected excellence because he was expects excellence from himself, so he expects excellence from everybody else. Yeah, Jimmy Buckets, man. Jimmy Buckets did his thing, man. Shout out to Chris. But this is what I was talking about. This is why I say we gotta be careful who we call the best player in the world. Because I had somebody say, I asked him if Jimmy Butler comes out this series and they win, is Jimmy Butler now the best player in the NBA? And one of the subscribers said no, and I'm like, why not? If Jimmy wins this series and he plays like how he's playing, why can't he be the best player in the world? It's because it's not sexy enough to put Jimmy as the best player in the world. They don't want to see that. Well, I got news for you, man. As far as this Miami Heat team, I've been watching them all season. They're going to make Boston work for everything in this series. And that's why I'm so a little concerned with Tatum, because I don't see Tatum as being that guy that just to, go through a Miami Heat defense. I just don't see it. He takes a lot of outside 3-point shots. It looks pretty, you know what I'm saying? But are you really trusting Tatum to really challenge Bam, challenge Jimmy, challenge DeAndre Demon, those guys in the paint? That's why it's so important that they have Marcus Smart out there, because he's their quote unquote tough guy. He's the guy that's going to take pressure off a guy like Tatum and Brown, because he's going to do the dirty work. He's going to put himself and play defense on guys like Tyler Hero or Gabe Vincent, who's, who was getting off tonight. And that's going to open up, Tatum, open up Brown, open up Pritchard, to put the ball in the basket. But again, Miami has more shot creators and shot makers. They have better outside 3-point shooting. So I'm not picking a winner yet, but I said from what I seen tonight, um, Miami has the formula to beat this team. Chris said, "Is Jimmy a Hall of Famer right now?" Um, I gotta look at his accomplishments. I gotta look at his accomplishments to see. But as far as what, if you talk about as far as a player like his game, I can say this is what I will say about Jimmy. And I know people might not understand it. Um, Jimmy Butler, man, he kind of reminds me of Kawhi Leonard. Jimmy Butler kind of reminds me of Kawhi Leonard. Now, hear me out before y'all, jump in the comments like, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about?" Hear me out. He's not as good as Kawhi by any means. He's not as good as Kawhi Leonard. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if I look at their game, their playing style, their mentality, how they becoming different players in the playoffs, how they do not make a lot of mistakes, how they utilize the mid-range shot, how they're kind of similar in size. I think Kawhi's like probably an inch taller and like 15 to 20 pounds heavier. Um, they have a lot of similarities, except Jimmy's more of a talker, Kawhi's more quiet, but their games are very, very similar. I've noticed that about him. And if you ask me if Jimmy a Hall of Famer right now, let's see what happens the rest of this playoffs, and we're gonna find out. If he wins a championship, definitely a Hall of Famer right away. And he goes to be one of the top 10 players in the NBA right now. Like, that's a better question. Is Jimmy Butler a top 10 NBA player right now? That's the more qualified question, because you can argue that Jimmy right now is one of the best players in the playoffs. He's right there with Tatum. He's right there with Steph Curry. He's right there with um I don't know who else is in the playoffs. Luka. He's right there with those guys. Say who's the best player in the playoffs right now? Right now, I would have to go with well, I don't know. If you talk about who's the best player, like player, period, is Luka Doncic. But if you talk about who's playing the best, you can make a case for Jimmy Butler. You can make a case for Jimmy Butler. You can make a case for Jayson Tatum or Luka Doncic. You know what I'm saying? You can make a case for those guys. Say undisputed, said Luka better than Steph. He's better right now as far as he's playing better. he's not a better player over like historically. Nah, not even. Nah, he's not on Steph's level historically, but he is playing just as good as Steph right now. Steph didn't play well in the second series. There's multiple games where he shot the ball very bad. I think the only game he really played up to par was that game four, where he went off in that fourth quarter. Um, but nah, Steph has not really been Steph Curry in the second quarter. Beach, I'm sorry, but Tatum can't receive that comparison of Kobe. Kobe is a different. He was so good. I don't. Here's the thing. Players with Keith, thanks for that comment. I don't. Tatum doesn't remind me of Kobe at all. I've been saying that for like the last couple of years. I don't see Tatum like Kobe. And I don't know who made that comparison or who made that. Tatum is not. It doesn't remind me of Kobe, bro. He reminds me of T Mac. You know what I'm saying? I can't give Tatum that. That's not. I can't put Tatum as Kobe Bryant. Chris said, PJ, you're saying you could better, bro. He's been better. He's been playing better. Luka's been playing. I'm not saying he's a better overall player. Like he's not a better as far as like legacy and stuff. Like he's not on Steph's level. But I'm saying like this playoffs, yeah, Luka has been playing better. Ain't really a problem. You know what I'm saying? So I agree that Boston has trouble scoring, but I think Boston's defense will be different. In the end, all Boston has to do is win off 4-7. So let's talk about their defense, man. Um, their defense with Boston right now. What I seen with Milwaukee, their defense was okay, but I also saw like they did a lot of flopping. Marcus Smart, Grant Williams, Al Horford to an extent, they did a lot of flopping. These are the three best defenders. They were flopping a lot when they're guarding Giannis. There wasn't really much defense being played. Miami, they're a team that's a physical, real defensive team. Guys like PJ Tucker, Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Gabe Vincent, Kyle Lowry. These are dogs, man. These guys are flat out dogs who just get after it on defensive end. You know what I'm saying? They don't back down from it. And then they got a coach like a Spoelstra who's going to make sure they're ready for every adjustment possible. So this is a different breed they're dealing with in Miami, Andres. You said, okay, soccer updates. Whoever wins the finals MVP is the best player. Uh, we'll have to revisit that one. Chris said, you realize Steph is a fan. He draws four players and allows other players to get open. Steph pulls gravity broke just for the sim. They said, yeah, but I got that. That's who he's been since back-to-back MVPs. But I'm game this Memphis series, he did not play well. Jordan Poole was the best player in game one. Ja was the best player in game two. Game three, you could say it was Klay Thompson. Game four, Steph Curry in the fourth quarter. Game five, Memphis just killed them. And then game six, it was Kevin Looney and Draymond Green and Andrew Wiggins. So Steph Curry has not been the best player in that series. The first series against Denver, like you could say Steph Curry was just like the flat out the best player. Like he has not erupted. Now he might erupt in this series, but he hasn't erupted yet, like in this whole playoffs. So I mean that's all cool that you're saying, but he hasn't been Steph Curry like we know and love. Say game six Clay. Uh yeah, you could say that. Game six was Clay. I'll put Andrew Wiggins there too. Andrew Wiggins was big. But I'm gonna let y'all in here, man. Go and get y'all in the live. So drop the link inside. You know what I'm saying? We can talk a little bit more. What y'all feel about the series? Who y'all think gonna win? What did y'all see tonight? And should Boston be concerned or should Miami feel comfortable? Adjustments that could be made throughout the series. I want to hear from y'all. What y'all feel like what's going on with this series because it's very interesting. It's gonna be very highlighted. I'll say this: I won't pick a winner, but I can say it's gonna go at least six. It's not gonna be a quick 4 or 5 game series for by far. It's gonna be about 6 or 7 games for sure. These two teams are both very well coached. They are very they take pride on defense. I think Miami does have better shooting and scoring, but I think the pride on Boston side is gonna, carry inside this series as well. So, um, y'all come in, tell me what y'all think. So, also I love watching these uh post game talks because they explain a lot about what they thought about the whole game. See, I don't just watch the game, but I look at the whole. Y'all don't understand what I do when I'm not on here with y'all. Like I look at the whole package. Post game, pre game, actual game, interviews. I'm constantly looking for every type of piece. What I'm saying, to dissect, to try to come up with like the best analysis possible, quality. Play for keeps said, BJ, did you hear when KD stood up for CB3 when he said Pat Bev running around like he Tupac? Uh, no, but I definitely will check that out, man. Here's what I feel about that whole Pat situation, man. Like, there were some things that he saw. I feel like he said that were, he had a point, but there were some things I was just like, kind of like, yeah, he capping. Like the whole James Harden thing, like him holding that contract, Supermax. I was like, yeah, Pat Bev is tripping. Um, when he said Chris Paul, even when he don't play defense, like it's like, dude, you can't be a 9-time all defensive team and not play defense. But I think Pat Bev was looking at more like, he's who he is, Pat Bev. So he's only gonna give you so much credit as a defender because he feel like he the best. I mean, he's not gonna praise Chris Paul like, a regular player would do or a regular fan would do. But I'll definitely check out what KD said, man. I can imagine. Yeah. So it's already to be on the West Coast. It's 10 o'clock. Where y'all at, man? And if y'all not have already, you can follow us also on Instagram. I'm gonna put the comment. Actually, I'm gonna put it on the banner so y'all can see it. If y'all want to follow us on IG, this is gonna be this is our IG right here. Go check it out, man. I put videos up there on the daily for the most part. At underscore the pull up underscore. That's our Instagram. Where y'all can check us out. You know what I mean? Yeah, y'all can go and follow, comment. I'll give y'all a shout out. Also on Twitter, the Pull Up Basketball Podcast, same as the show on YouTube, and then you also go Spotify and iHeartRadio. Y'all can listen to it at y'all job or on your run or in the car, and y'all can just listen to us all the time, man. Like, yeah. Said play for Keith. Said BJ, who's your top 5 greatest players of all time? Oh, that's easy, man. MJ, Kareem, Kobe, Magic, LeBron. That was my top 5, man. And everybody has their own preference who they think is the best has a top 5, man. But those are my top 5. Those are my guys. Who I pick in the top 5 all day. So, but what's good, Bo?
What's up, B Jizzle?
What's good? What's good? What's your take on the game, man?
Uh, First of all, it was a great, it was a great game. I mean, it wasn't very entertaining like how I expected it to go, but it was a good game. In South Beach, it was a good game. But I feel like Miami coming into this game in the first half, I feel like they was rusty. Because they had a 4 or 5 days off after the Philly series, and they haven't been playing, so they was a little bit rusty, and it showed in the first half. They weren't really hustling like they did in the second half. You know what I'm saying? Most importantly, Bam Adebayo was not very aggressive. He only took two shots.
Mm,
He only took 2 shots in the first half, scored 6 points, and only had 3 rebounds. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't very aggressive. In the first half from Miami, it was all Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero gave him 15 points.
mm,
He got 15
yeah,
points off the bench, and Jimmy Butler scored 14 points for them. So, for Boston, the first half was all Jayson Tatum. He had help from Pritchard and Robert Williams. You know what I'm saying? Robert Williams was more aggressive than Bam, which it can't happen. Like Bam, you
right.
expect you was expecting to win the Defensive Player of the Year award, and you let in Robert Williams outplay you like that. That's not good. Robert Williams had 14 points and 5 rebounds. You know what I'm saying? Totally outplaying Bam in the first half. But heading into the second half, Miami went on a 22-2 run. You know what I'm saying? And they pretty much won the game in the third quarter. They outscored the Boston Celtics by almost 16 points. They scored 39 points, and Boston only scored 14. Jayson Tatum scored about only he scored like 5 points in the third quarter alone. You know what I'm saying? He only took 2 shots.
Yeah,
He only took 2 shots, and he was very, very lazy with his passes. You know what I'm saying? Because he had 6 turnovers. Most of his passes was like he was not watching the person he's passing it to. Like Jimmy Butler is in passing lanes, you know what I'm saying, ready to get the steal. Bam has quick hands, you know what I'm saying? So they stepped into the passing lanes and committed the turnover, which led to fast break points. And Boston also went 0 for 10 from the 3-point line in the third quarter alone. Like they only made two
hmm,
shots. They
yep.
only made 2 shots. Took 15 shots and only made 2 of them, which was from Robert Williams and Daniel Tice. You know what I'm saying? Jayson Tatum didn't make any shots in the third. He shot free throws, and Jaylen Brown didn't make shots at all. You know what I'm saying? So they kind of won. Miami won the game in the third quarter, and heading into the fourth quarter, Jayson Tatum started taking care of the ball, so he didn't have any turnovers. You know what I'm saying? But he only scored 3 points in the fourth. Jaylen Brown was cooking, but that was getting almost at the 4 minute mark. That's when he started getting cooking. But the game was pretty much decided in the third, so it didn't really
Yeah,
matter. It didn't really matter.
yeah. That's what Jalen Brown said. Actually, that's when they lost the game in the third quarter when they outscored them 14-29. Like, and this is what I say about Tatum, man. Like, he's a streaky scorer. Like, he's not a Kobe Bryant where he constantly in an aggressive way. He's not going Kobe if he's going to continuously attack you in multiple ways. Tatum seems to be he shoots a lot of 3-point shots. That's going to go right into Miami's hands because that team has dogs on that team on
Right.
defense. They got guys that's going to be like they like looking at Jason Tatum like, oh, okay, PJ Tucker, Jimmy Butler, Bam, even if you look at their guards like Kyle Lowry and Victor Oladipo, they'll take that challenge on a Jason Tatum. So you're gonna shoot your team out the series if you're gonna depend on that jump shot. I don't think Jaylen Brown he's gonna be able to carry that load to give you a 30 plus every single game. Nor
Right.
should he have to. But I'm just telling you, as far as Miami collectively on defense, Boston, they have a very long series ahead of them because Milwaukee don't have the defense that Miami has. They don't have the dogs that Miami has on
Right.
defense. So that's why a guy like a Tatum, that's why I'm saying this is going to play right into their hands. Like they're gonna be able to make it tough for a guy like Tatum.
Yep.
And if they're gonna let them play through these through contact, oh yeah, they Miami's gonna be like, oh, it's gonna be a field day.
Yeah, I remember there was a play and
Mm,
Tatum had the ball. He was in the paint and PJ Tucker was on him, Bam was on him, and Jimmy Butler was coming over. It
mm,
was kind of the defense they was playing on Kevin Durant.
mm, yeah,
And
that's how. And PJ Tucker guarded KD,
right.
so it's like you don't think he will want to guard. He can't guard Jason Tatum. Like he'll be licking his chops. Like he'll be like, man, look, I guard the best player, best offensive player in the world. Like you think I'm scared of you? Like they don't have none of those guys are scared of Jason Tatum.
Nah.
So they're looking at him like, okay, we're gonna rough him. We're gonna make it rough for him. And once you take Tatum out, it's like that's why Marcus Smart, the presence of him was missed so much because that's the toughness of their team.
Right.
Marcus
Right.
Smart is a guy that will be the one to try to he'll snap Tatum and Brown back into it. Like you remember Boston when they were going through their little struggles early this season, where Smart called him out. He called him out and said, we need to be a more unselfish team.
Yeah.
Like that's what a guy like that being with you on the court is going to hold you accountable. But
Mm-hmm.
since he didn't play today, that you can only do so much. Even if you on the bench, like you as a on the sideline, you can only do so much from the sideline.
Yeah.
So without Marcus Smart, and then what also without the calm demeanor of Al Horford, because that's the calm demeanor of the Boston Celtics. So with that mixture that was missing, you saw Boston tonight. What happened? Like you're going against this high-powered, high-energy, very very disciplined Miami team who set out themselves. They didn't really have the best game because they started too late. You lost a game where you pretty much were suffocating that third quarter. That's what happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
I
who do you
mean,
got winning this series?
I pick. I'm still going with Boston. I'm still going with Boston in 6, even though they lost tonight. They was missing Marcus Smart and they was missing Al Horford. This COVID thing, I really hate this COVID thing. Like, come on, you know. And Boston only had 8 players play for them, So, and they're coming off of Game 7 when Game 7s are emotional and they're draining as well. So I feel like they was playing with full adrenaline. But
Mm.
I'm still picking them to win in 6. I feel like they could win Game 2 on the road. They can steal a game. They can steal a game in Miami. Yep.
They're gonna have to either steal a game or if they gotta win both games back home. If they lose game 2, they're gonna have to win both games. If they miss one of those games, they're gonna lose the series.
Yep.
You ain't coming back from a 3-1 lead over these dudes.
Nah.
Not even close.
Nah.
So I think the defensive intensity of Miami mixed with the coaching um, is what brought them to victory tonight. And what I'm also looking at is how their demeanor is after the game. Now, they don't really have like you know, a very too happy, too joyous mood. They're pretty much saying like on to the next game. And usually when you have a team like that who has that type of mindset to always look at the next game and look to, get better, you're dealing with a team who's pretty much championship ready.
Yeah. And I feel like some of the Celtic players are kind of mentally weak because in the third, when Jayson Tatum was missing those shots, you could see the frustration on his face when he doesn't get the foul calls. It was kind of getting to him. When they was giving Jimmy Butler all those fouls and putting him on the free throw line, you could really see it was really bothering him and kind of messing with him mentally.
Well, there's a thing about Jimmy though. And this is what I was saying earlier. I was like, Jimmy was creating those fouls where the refs had to call it because not just Jimmy's very skilled too, very skilled and knows how to draw contact. Like he had a
Right.
play in the corner, um, at the mid range where he was posting up. I don't know, I forget who was posting up, but he turned around for a fadeaway jump shot, but he faked it in the air, got him in the air. I think it was, I don't know if it was Robert Williams or who, but
No,
got
I
him
think
in.
it was Naismith.
Okay, yeah, Nate Smith got him in the air and got the foul called. He got that foul. He did the same thing again at the elbow on the left elbow, where he got him jumping in the air. So it's like if you get somebody jumping in the air and you draw a foul, that's a foul.
Right.
That's what it is. And then there was times where he would drop to the basket and get contact. That's a foul. Like, I mean,
Right. And
I
he
can't.
was being aggressive the whole night.
He was being aggressive, but also he's being smart. Like he was selective aggressive. Like notice, Jimmy don't turn the ball over much.
Right. Right.
So it's like you can have a guy who's aggressive, but if you got a guy who's under control and aggressive, oh yeah, you got his mercy. Because Jimmy Blake weighs like an 85% free throw shooter,
Yep.
86, 87
His career for this season,
this season.
I think he's probably 82 or 81 for the season.
Let me look. I think he's higher than that. I think he's like over 85. Let me check. Because he went 17 for 18 tonight.
Wait for the
Um,
playoffs.
no, for his season, what's Jimmy Butler's free throw percentage?
Free
I'm
throw
looking up right
percentage.
now.
Okay. Okay, it was
One,
87.
yeah, 87%. Like that dude, you don't want to get him on the free throw line because that means how do you stop a dude who can get you to the basket, who's lethal in the mid range, but also he can make his free throws if you foul him. The best case in what you can do is hope he shoots and makes misses a three. That's
Yeah,
the
he
that's
doesn't
your
shoot.
best bet.
He doesn't really shoot a lot of threes. He attempted two, but he didn't make them tonight. But he was efficient.
Yeah, man. Like I said, Kawhi Leonard, that's what he is. In this playoffs, he's not as good as Kawhi, but his mindset, how he approaches the game, is very similar. Very
Yeah, I
similar.
agree. Yeah, I agree.
So, um, who you got tomorrow?
I'm going for Golden State to win Game 1. They're well rested.
Mm,
I'll go for them to win. Well, I have a question for you.
what's up?
The flagrant foul that Bam had in the fourth quarter. You think it was a flagrant foul?
Nah, I don't think so. Um, nah, he wasn't. Nah, I don't think that was a flagrant. In this day and age, though, I could see why they would call it, but it's no, not in my book. I think that was just a regular basketball play.
Right.
But that's the new NBA for you, man.
Yeah,
That's the
man.
new NBA. That's the new NBA for you. They call every common foul is a flagrant. Every flagrant is a ejection. So you can't really get away with too much in this NBA.
Yeah. I
But
mean, I felt like he thought it was gonna be a shot. That's why he was trying to box out. But at the time he was boxing out, Tom Lord was already in the air, so he was vulnerable, and he embraced the fall. So that's why they kind of called the flagrant on him.
yeah, I don't know how you call a flagrant when the man wasn't even looking at him. His back was
Right.
literally turned. How do you call a flagrant on a dude that's not even looking or paying attention? Like, yeah, I don't know, man. I just feel like the NBA is looking for reasons to find guys and give them texts and all crazy type of stuff. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But we say one last thing, man, before we head to the end of the live. What's the score? How many points do the Warriors win by tomorrow?
Um, I would say 5 to 10 points within that
5 to
range.
5 to 10.
Yeah, but I expect them to be rusty as Miami was tonight. But I feel like they're gonna pick it up.
They've been rusty all playoffs. Like that's the problem. They only had one very good game in the last series. That was game 3. Game 6 they played well, but that went down the stretch, man. Like they can't make that same mistake with Dallas. They can't wait too long to get going.
Right.
They can't afford to. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You need to come in and punch them in the mouth and
You
set
know
the
what I'm
tone
saying?
early.
Very early. Or else it's gonna be another, massacre. So
Yeah, because
but
Luka capable of going off at any time.
well, like I was telling somebody in the comments, I was saying they got bodies for Luca. They got Draymond, they got Wiggins, they got Kaminga, they got guys for Luca, man. They got length, they got size, um, can move their feet.
Yep.
So this ain't like Phoenix where, yeah, you have defenders, but Draymond Green's the ultimate. I think he's an ultimate guy that can match up with Luca, who can be physical with him, who can bump him, who's just as strong as him. And then you got guys like Kaminga and Wiggins who got length and who got athleticism that can move their feet. And then
Yep.
they got the shot making. Like
Right.
Golden State got the shot making to overwhelm a team like Dallas. But they gotta make shots. They can't be missing. Like Clay can't be going, you know,
4
4
of
for
14.
16 and Steph can't be going 7 for 22. Like you can't be doing crazy stuff like that.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I'm going to shut the live down, man, for the night, but I'll be back on tomorrow for sure.
All right, man.
All right, bro. I'm going to talk to you tomorrow, all right?
All right, for sure.
All right, man.
All right, peace.
All right, man. Respectfully say, you know what I'm saying? Hit that like, comment button, you know what I mean? Continue to support the live Pull Up Basketball Podcast. Pull up a seat, pull up a chair, pull up. Peace. I like swim well.